Hey, welcome back to another week of Leading from the Middle. I'm Helen Young-McLaughlin, and if you've been following, I just want to do a quick recap that I have decided to connect with 23 different leaders this year to learn a little bit more about what they believe companies can do to transform their middle managers into their most valuable asset. I do this by asking one question, and I love the conversations that follow. So today, I'm excited to introduce you to my guest. Her name is Sarah Steele. She is with Steele Management Group. And I just want to pause here and say, welcome, Sarah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Helen. I really appreciate you inviting me. I've been looking forward to talking with you. So thank you.
Awesome. Sarah, can you share a little bit with the listeners of the work that you've done, before you started your own company, that aligns with what we're talking about today? And then absolutely let us know, what you're doing now.
Wonderful. Well, so Steel Management Group is a construction project management firm, which we started in 2010. Prior to that, I have an undergraduate degree in business, and so I've focused on business, primarily operations and business development. So working with, the largest organization was Georgetown University. I worked with an arbitration and mediation firm for several years, and then worked in my last corporate job, as they say, was vice president of business development for a chain of health and fitness clubs. So
Okay.
all of them in, starting off in the lower to middle management, then into the executive office. So
And there was no stress in there, right?
never ever sailing the whole way.
So, Sarah, it sounds like you actually have some really good insight from two lenses from the corporate world of navigating those different positions that you held, where it sounds like you oversaw different teams or people.
Mhm.
And then in your current role as a business owner, with a team, and also just navigating those different conversations with customers and clients, or however you refer to them. And we're going to talk a little bit maybe about that today.
Great, I'm ready.
All right. So, Sarah, as you know, I have one question that I'm asking everybody, which is, what is one thing that companies need to pay closer attention to when it comes to developing their managers?
It is a great question. I will say that I've enjoyed watching the other podcasts that you've had
Uh-huh.
with your other collaborators, and it's really the insights have been amazing. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
I think for me, again, reflecting back on my history in management, upper management, and again in my current role as owner of Steel Management Group, I think that it comes down to a very basic approach for me, which is being transparent in communication and
Hmm.
including these new, the middle managers in the conversation.
Okay.
And it seems so simple, but really starting off with sharing the information and not feeling as though there's strategy that might be off limits to them because they're not at the level at which they can contribute. I think it's important to recognize that you've brought them into a higher role for a reason, right? And
Hmm.
to start to bring them into the fold as much as possible so that they can see what's going on and what the trajectory of the company is. And you can model for them how you would like for them to behave. I think I think it's really just starts with the root of transparent
Transparency.
communication. Right.
And I love the word transparency. And I think that there's many people that would say, hey, we had that where we are. There would be others that would say, we definitely need more of that. As a manager going into a new role, and I don't know if you remember from when you started out, what is it that manager might need to know? Because I know first we're talking about the companies, but what is it that the manager might need to know about being transparent in their own role?
Well, I think that it's a trickle down, right? I think
Mm,
that when you're able to share the vision of the company and some of the strategy for growth plans and for service or product rollout or what have you, folks can envision that for themselves. They can formulate the questions that they may need to have answered in order for them to understand better. And then they're able to communicate that to their teammates and perhaps folks that are still coming up in the ranks in management. I think that that shows that they then need to be transparent and communicating as well so that everybody ends up on the same page. Because when you're working for a company, everybody's got the same common goal.
Right.
And so I think that I really feel as though having managers understand the full picture and the landscape
Yeah.
allows them to not only contribute more, but to also get to know themselves better, because you're not going to like everything that you do. And so it will help them begin their path for focusing on what they want, how they want to grow as an employee and as a person.
This is so good. So I have a program called the Leverage Academy where I bring, 10 to 15 people into a group. We work together for 6 months, building skills, building confidence related to the roles that they'll be serving. And the number one challenge will be, no surprise, communication, right? So when we think about transparency, I really love how you start off with that snapshot. It does start off with, let's give a picture. Like, let's sit down together. And this is something that another one of the guests and I talked about, and I love folding it in here, which is, are we even having the conversations as a company, right? If I'm one of the companies out there that's really considering, how am I developing the employees that we have and our managers specifically, I'm wondering if people can just use that snapshot image that you just described to say, first, let's even talk about what it means to manage here at our company. Like, let's just broaden that instead of assuming, right, that people understand what it means to manage, because they may have a different experience from a different place that they have been working at prior. They may not have had the best manager themselves prior to going into it. So there's lots of nuances, I think, that we pull in. What have you seen in the work that you do?
So, the goal is always that transparency, laying out the landscape and sharing so that folks can, not only you can get the buy-in, right, which is so important with middle managers, but to also get them to contribute. For me, especially now, I need to be mindful and I need to be very purposeful in taking that step back and saying, okay, what have I shared? What do I need to share? Where do I need collaboration? And not allowing my, the day to day to take over and let you forget that, oh
Right.
my goodness, I need to include everybody else into this mix and I need to share with them. I think the weekly meetings that we have are very important because it gives that platform for everybody to
Right.
contribute. That one time, you're going to be getting together and sharing what's going on in the world or
And
in
what
your
I
world.
heard you say is you need to take a step back. I call it the pause. And being able to insert that pause so that you can be reflective. And you also got a little curious, like, what have I shared? What haven't? Right? We're busy. Most people I talk to are busy.
For
And
sure.
I see you shaking your head, like, right? And so if we think about all of the information that we're fielding in a day, whether it's through text, Slack, you name it, social media, emails, and you can see how miscommunication would easily fold into anybody's day.
Right.
And so if we're setting a manager up for success, we can start by taking that step back, being transparent. Here's my vision for the role. Here's my vision for how I want information to flow from me to you and, to your team. And then start folding in, I think, some curiosity. Like you said, take a step back and get some clarity. Fold in some curiosity.
I think that that comes naturally, right? The more that you share, the
Yeah.
more that they want to contribute, the more ideas that they have, and being open to that, I think it just fosters. It just begins the cycle of fostering, folks to communicate and to contribute. I think that it's, it's a habit. It has to become a habit. You set the tone, and you
Yeah.
foster the tone, and then it becomes natural for the team to behave in that way.
And building these habits, sometimes we have to break up with old habits, right? They're not serving us the way they might have a year ago, 5 years ago. And so being able to take a look at that. And so I love this. I love how if we start with being transparent, and I always love to suggest for people to drop into a question. And if you're a company or if you're an individual manager, stop and ask, how transparent am I with my team around what's happening, what's coming up, making sure that they're clear in their roles.
Mhm.
And then from there, that's the starting point. Because I just wanted to do one, because I could easily jump into so many other things that can be done. But the one you chose, I think, is really super valuable. And if they can pair transparency with a question and really sink into understanding what's happening in your own organization, it may provide some insight for what you want to do differently in 2024, let's say, because we are rounding out the year real quick. Anything you wanted to add to that, Sarah? This is great.
No, I think that, allowing the process to unfold organically, right? And, starting with that basis of transparency and good communication. I think that I think the companies will find their path, right? The
Yeah.
path that fits for them, for their branding, and for that environment that they're trying to foster. So
Great. And Sarah, if people want to learn more about you, the work you do, where can they find you?
So we'd love for them to visit our website, steelngmtgroup.com. I'm on LinkedIn, love to connect with folks on LinkedIn. And yep, we're always available. Even if folks just have a one-off question about their construction project, we're happy to help.
Great. Thank you again for being here. Thank you so much for joining us and tuning in to another interview of Leading from the Middle. I'm really looking forward to hearing some feedback from you. I want to connect with you. You can connect with me directly on LinkedIn at Helen Young-McLaughlin. Just hit that hyphen in between Young and McLaughlin, or you can go to my website at helenyoungcoaching.com. Thanks again and have a great day.